Alright, boys and girls, let's do some imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers come from finding the square root of a negative number. So if we look at x squared plus 1, if I were to solve for x, I'm going to eventually get the square root of negative 1. And that's where imaginary numbers come from. And we call that imaginary number I. So I is the square root of negative 1, and I squared then, if, this is I square it, the square root and the square go away, and I just get negative 1. Let's go ahead and practice this. Oops, sorry. Getting that back up there. All right. We're just going to break some stuff down. I'm not going to do all of these, just kind of like yesterday, but I'll do some ones that kind of show us the ropes. Square root of negative 5 is the same thing as negative 1 times 5. And so now that we know what I, or negative 1 is, that's I can actually bring that to the outside. So it's going to be I and then the square root of 5. Okay? Let's look at maybe D or something like that. Got another negative on the inside there, so negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. I'm breaking all that down. I got a pair of 2's, one cancels, one goes on the outside just like yesterday's notes, and then I got an I on the outside. So 2I and then square root of 10. Now on F, when we have an I already there, and we bring another I out, well, I don't want to ruin it. Let's see what happens. So that's going to give me negative 1 times, and then 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. That's what 24 is. Got another pair of 2's. One dies, one goes on the outside. I got negative 1 becomes I. So I'm going to have negative 6 because 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And then I times another I gives me I squared. My leftover is 6. Now I squared is negative 1. So negative times negative is a positive. So negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6 square root of 6. So that's how those work as far as simplifying goes. When we're dealing with multiplication, we just got to be sure that we get the i's out and then we multiply. So let's look at like number 4. I'm going to have 3I root 6 because, 6 is negative 1 times 6 times I root 3. And now we're just going to multiply the outsides, multiply the insides. So I get 3I squared times 6 breaks up into 2 times 3 times 3. Got a pair of 3's, one goes on the outside, the other one dies. So now I got 9I squared, square root of 2. Well, I squared is negative 1, so negative 9 square root of 2. That's how those work. Just multiply the outsides, multiply the insides. Next thing is we're going to use this chart here to help us figure out what some of these like really high exponents are. So I got I to the first, I to the eighth. And there's a pattern here. Every 4, it repeats. So you see I, negative 1, negative I, 1. I, negative 1, negative I, 1. And so the way I've been telling kids all day is, you can use a chart if it's a small number. So like out of the 13th, if this is 8, it's going to cycle back. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Out of the 13th is I. The other way to do it is if the number is divisible by 4, then just go to, 1 above, 1 below, any of that stuff. So I to the 100th, well, 100 is divisible by 4, so I to the 4th is 1. 301, well, 300 is divisible by 4. That 300 would be here. 301 would be at I to the 5th. I to the 5th is I. Does that make sense, hopefully? I hope so. I to the 17th, well, 16 would be 1, so 17 would be I. Plus, now 35, 34, no, what about 36? 36 is divisible by 4. So 36 would be here. 35 is 1 back, so negative I. Well, negative plus positive is 0. And that's how those work. So just utilize that. E is just utilizing the ones that we just did, putting numbers in front. F, same thing. I'll let you do those at home. The last thing is complex numbers. Complex numbers is you taking imaginary pieces and real pieces and putting them together. So we always put the real part first and the imaginary part second. That's the only rule. Everything else we're just going to combine like normal. Now I'm going to rewrite this. So 2 minus 3i, and then minus 14, and then plus 7i. Then add the real stuff, add the imaginary stuff. So I got 2 negative 14, that makes negative 12. and then plus negative 3i and 7i make 4i. My real part's first, my imaginary part is second. 8, just distribute on that. 9, we could do the box method. So 2 minus 3i and 4 plus 7i. And same thing for number 10. Whenever we have a square, we just rewrite it twice. So I'll show you the box. Oh gosh, I'm off the grid. I'll show you the box method on that one. So 3 minus 4i, 3 minus 4i. Please just don't square everything. So we get 9, negative 12i, negative 12i, and positive 16i squared. So I got 9 minus 24i, because negative 12i, negative 12i, and then plus 16i squared. Well, 16i squared, this is really, remember, that's negative 1. So then I'm going to have 9 minus 24i minus 16. And we put our real part first, so 9 minus 16, that's negative 7, minus 24i. Boom shakalaka. Now that was quick. Come in for tutoring if you need so. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.